everyone, welcome to X-Blade. Today we're doing an instructional video on the 10 basic moves for sword fighting. These will be moves that you can use all throughout sword fighting, whether you're a pro or whether you're a beginner. You're going to use these moves at some point all the way along. So if you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe, and we're going to go through these moves. So let's start us out. So the first part we're going to start with is our angles. And my brother here, he's got a short sword, and I've got a long sword. It'll be slightly different, but it won't be much, and we'll point out the differences when it comes along.
Yeah. So we're going to break this drill down into 3 parts. So our first part is going to be our angles. So we're going to start out here, sword on top of the shoulder. We're going to cut down 45-degree angles. This is our angle 1. We're going to go up to the next shoulder, cut down for angle 2. Then we're going to stop here, flip the blade, and we're going to cut up. Again on 45-degree angles. Flip over. Do the exact same thing on the other side. We're making a giant X. If you just imagine a big X.
Now,
both diagonals.
Right. Now with the last move, this is one of the small differences we do with the long sword versus the short sword.
Yeah.
When we do our angles coming back up, we flip our wrist to come back up on our angles. But on the second angle, we don't turn our wrist like this because we don't want to get caught in a position where we get wrist tangled. We just can come right back up from that position.
Using the top edge of the blade.
Right, because it's double-sided. So just a slight variant.
Yep.
You can practice it this way as well. It's good because sometimes you might want more power in a block scenario, but this is a little bit faster than having to flip your wrist.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that part a couple times here. So starting off, let's count it out. Here we go. 1, 2, flip, 3, 4. Now we'll do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead, you can pause the video and break this down. You can do it for like 60 seconds and get this down so you have it enough before we move on to the second part. Okay, so let's move on to part 2. So part 2 is going to be our horizontals. For this horizontal, we'll be striking right around the chest area, just, horizontal, like this. So back on the shoulder, we're going to cut across, flip the blade, and come back around. So these motions will be angle 5 and 6. So 5 and 6. So after you get this down, we'll go ahead and combine it with the angles. So let's go angle 1, 2, 3, 4. Now up here, 5 and 6.
So the third part of these combinations is the thrust. So we started here from our horizontals. We're going to bring it up over our heads and down, just like that. Now that sets us up for our thrust. We're going to do a center line thrust first, a forehand thrust to the right, and a backhand thrust to the left, just like that. So imagine if he's got a sword, I can go around just like that. Maybe if he's got a sword higher up, I can go under like that. So those are the basic thrusts, and now we can combine that all together into one fluid form, just like this. We have our angle 1, angle 2, 3, 4, horizontal 5, 6, our down strike, and we have 1, 2, 3 on the stats, just like that. So now, something good to do is also to do it on your left side so that we get the motions down. Now this will be a little bit different. We have our angle 1 coming from the left, obviously, instead of the right. So we'll run through it right now like that. 1, 2, flip, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now this time is reversed. Stab number 1, when it comes to the left first, then the right last, just like that. So that's the form right there. We're going to do it a couple times backwards. Grab anything you want, like a baseball bat or a tennis racket or anything that looks like a sword, and get to practicing with us, and you can do this along with us. Just be safe with your surroundings.
All right, let's count it out nice and loud. Here we go, our angles first. 1, 2, 3, 4, horizontal, 5, 6, 7, thrust, 8, 9, 10. Still on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So yeah, that's basically the moves right there. So the next thing we can get into just briefly is doing it with one hand with the longsword. This can be good to practice, especially since a lot of times we're fighting and we'll switch hands or we'll go into one hand. It's not just solely used with two hands. and it obviously helps you if you're training source sword as well. It can help you with that. So just run through the moves, the combinations with one hand, practice it with the other hand, practice in the other shoulder. Just get your hands and your body familiar with the movements. Another thing is doing these movements from the wrist. So we've been doing them from the shoulder and with the arm. It's a very large, long motion. You can do these same moves from the wrist, just like this, and you can move and manipulate the sword just like that, which is especially useful. Let's say I attack or something, and I go with a large strike, and then I can circle around with something smaller like that. So we're going to run through these same moves just from the wrist. Now this can take a little bit of getting used to with the flexibility of being able to rotate your wrist. That's something good to practice. If you're letting go with your bottom hand like this, it's probably not good because you'll lose the sword like that in an actual situation when you're fighting with it. So just make sure you hang on tight with both hands. Even if it's hard for your wrist at first, just practice getting your wrist flexible, and it will improve your sword maneuverability. So let's start us off, just like we were before, with our angle 1 here. So we have our angle 1, angle 2, we're gonna flip, angle 3, angle 4, just like that. We have our horizontals, 5, 6, our vertical, and then just like that, our 3 thrust. So that's something good to practice on both sides. Just if it's difficult for you again with the wrist movement, you can practice figure 8s. You can practice them large and then begin to work your way down to smaller, practice them in both directions, and it will help you with your angles because it can be difficult at first to get some of these angles down. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to subscribe and like, comment, share, and we'll see you on the next one.